This week, the podcast episode number 15 for August 29th, 2019. Hope everybody's having a fantastic week. Sincere apologies about missing last week. We had some internet issues that knocked Jess offline, and no one just wants to listen to me talk for an hour. So it's good to have Jess back. It's good to be back from my vacation. How have you been doing, Jess?
I'm great now that I have my internet back. That was a weird and very frustrating week, but we are back in action and everything is good now.
All right. So a lot has happened in 2 weeks. A lot of news to cover. So we're going to jump into this. If you're watching us live on YouTube, hang in there. This is not the Q&A. We're going to be doing our live podcast. But at the end of the podcast, we will be answering your questions. So hang in there to the end for any questions you may have. So let's dive in here because there's a lot happening. Start off with deals. Real quick, a few deals that you have to hurry about. Disney Plus is 33% off right now if you prepay for 3 months. You have to join Disney's official fan club, their D23 fan club, to get this deal. Once you join, it takes a couple of days maybe for that deal to appear. They say 36 hours. Some people have told me to take 48. Some people have said it shows up in a couple hours. Link in the show notes after we're done live down below. Also, we have Hulu on sale for $2.99 a month for the first 6 months. This is a limited time offer. If you want to get Hulu's limited commercial plan deal, on demand only, link in the show notes. It's a pretty good deal. And that's it. I think that's the deals for today.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into some of the news. And right off the bat, Disney Plus. We learned a lot about it. So last weekend was Disney's big convention for their fans called D23. It's their official fan club, and they have a lot of panels. So they had a park panel where they talked about everything new coming to the parks, but they also this year had a Disney Plus panel where they talked all things Disney Plus, and it was quite the news event. There was a lot announced and a lot that wasn't really new. So a few things we learned: pretty much all Disney Vault movies and TV shows would be there. Not necessarily at the same moment, just kind of, put a caveat on this. Because they intend to add all of them at some point, doesn't mean they're going to be all there day one. And I think they even announced a couple. Did somebody told us the Song of the South wouldn't be included in Disney Plus, I heard?
Yeah, there's been a lot of controversy about that one, and they haven't shown it on TV, I believe, in however many years. So I'm not sure if that one will be on there or not. My guess would be no.
Yeah, my guess is no, which kind of sad because Zippity Doo Dah is a great song, and they
agreed.
play that. I heard that at the parks last year when we went. Mm-hmm. So, we'll see what happens. I do understand it's a different time, it's a different age, so Disney may not want to deal with the fact that that was created in a different time, a different age. Yeah. Mm-hmm. There is also a bunch of new shows like Miss Marvel, a TV show, a new Lizzie McGuire. We got details about the new High School Musical, Monsters at Work, which is a series about the Monster movie. And the entire Pixar's library will be available to stream within the first year. And that is kind of what when they were very clear about that, made me wonder about the Vault. That the fact that the Vault may not be entirely at day one. So keep that in mind. So, Jess, what big thing, we kind of covered some of the highlights of what was announced last weekend. What big thing here really stood out to you? And then we'll talk about some more announcements.
Yeah, well, like you said, there wasn't a whole lot of new information, but it did not stop me from being super interested in this whole event because I think Disney Plus sounds awesome. I think I'm really excited about all the Pixar movies coming. I just think there's some really good content there. And then I've been surprised at some of this original content. I think some of these new shows they're coming out with are going to be really good. I was on Twitter talking about how excited I am for the Jeff Goldblum show. I think it's going to be hilarious. So that's at the top of my list.
Yeah, there was a lot. I mean, we got a first look at the new Lady and the Tramp movie. We got a first look at the new Mandalorian, if I'm saying that right, the new Star Wars TV show. Mm-hmm. And we learned a few things. So number one, Disney Plus will come with 4 streams, limited to 10 devices though. So that 10 device I think is the bigger limitation there. That will prevent people from saying, hey, everybody use my account. Because, you could easily find out, 2 phones, 2 tablets, a couple TVs in your home. Before you know it, you got 6, 7 devices. Then somebody else in your home tries to go and get or somebody else tries to use yours, they add 4 or 5 devices, and you're now over the 10 device limit. The only question I have is, how can you remove those? Is it like, how can you remove that? Is deleting the app remove it? I remember that with iTunes, right? If your hard drive failed, it would permanently register that computer
Right.
as one of the authorized ones, and before you know it, you ran out of devices.
Well, I'm assuming it'll be like Hulu since they're owned by the same company now, where on Hulu you can just go into your account, see everything that's listed, and right from your desktop, delete devices.
I hope so,
Yeah, me
because
too.
otherwise that could be a problem.
Agree.
We also learned more about the Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus bundle. That's the $12.99 bundle that really makes it competitive because you get so much more content for the same price as the Netflix account. So keep that in mind that there's a lot there, but instead of getting 2 streams for Hulu, you get 1 stream. Instead of getting, I think it was 5 streams for ESPN Plus, you only get 2 streams for ESPN Plus. So keep that in mind. There's a lot of catches here. Anything really stand out to you that I didn't mention?
No, a lot of people were asking about the number of streams. I think it's important to just remind everyone you can watch each of the different streaming services on separate devices at once. So you could have 4 people watching different content on different streaming services on different devices all at once. So it's very kind of confusing, but makes sense.
Yeah, there's a lot of details there that we still have to learn. We still don't know anything about any potential bundles with other services like, there's nothing really that we know about with Hulu with Live TV. There's no bundles with Hulu's commercial free plan, etc. So hopefully they add in some additional details. There was something else we were kind of looking for that there wasn't. Why am I? There was something we were hoping they would announce that they didn't. Did I miss something?
I think the big one was this bundle with Hulu Live. That was
Yeah,
the thing that we were really looking for.
and they still may have some type of bundle there. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if there's no bundle on the Hulu commercial free one, because commercial free, they make more money in the limited commercial plan
Right.
than they do the commercial free. But the Hulu with Live TV just seems like such a natural fit for this.
Hmm.
I would be shocked if there isn't some type of bundle. I know you're going to be able to add it as an add-on, but I would hope there would be some type of bundle, but maybe they won't.
Yeah, we've been getting a lot of questions about that, so hopefully Disney is paying attention to that and looking into it.
Yeah. Some of the other details that I think we'll have to watch for is Fire TV support. So they announced originally when the service first launched that it would come with Roku and Xbox, or was it PlayStation 4? I can't remember which. One of those game
Xbox.
systems. Xbox support. Now they've launched Apple TV, Xbox, and Android TV support is coming, but no Fire TV support at this time. So hopefully we'll learn more about Fire TV in the future as they announce more details about Disney Plus, because we are still over 2 months away from it launching.
Yeah, lots of time for new announcements, more information. I'm
So,
sure we'll be hearing plenty about Disney Plus.
before we move on, just not in any of the stories, but I've been shocked at the interest of Disney Plus. Of all the new services, I think we have to go back to Sling TV for how excited cord cutters were. And not just cord cutters, cable subscribers, just everybody is excited for Disney Plus. Last time I had an excitement about this was when we learned we would be able to get like ESPN and more from Sling TV for like $20 back then when it launched. I don't know how else to describe the excitement around this service. It's massive.
Yeah, people have been talking about it like crazy, especially um, on Twitter. I've been seeing a lot about it there. People on Facebook are definitely talking about it, but Twitter, especially, I think has been blowing up with people talking about Disney.
It's Disney. One of the things about Disney is Disney has the ability to say, hey, you know who we are. We have a long track record of good quality content. We have content people love. And Disney has done a good job of creating scarcity. If you ever take a business class, scarcity is one of those things that, creating an idea that people really want this, but it's hard to get. And Disney's
Definitely.
done that. And now that they're saying, hey, it's all going to be here in Disney Plus, it seems like a gold mine for them in a way that HBO Max and NBC Universal and more haven't, I don't think, come close to what Disney is doing here.
Yeah, it almost seems like Disney is coming out with these big announcements periodically, which I think was very, very smart of them. Where we've been hearing a lot about Disney Plus, but we've been hearing it, a little bit here and then a couple weeks later, a little bit more. And I think it's really helping to build up the momentum.
Yeah, honestly, there's a lot of streaming services that could take some notes from what Disney's doing right now. How many times have we had it where like, "Ooh, wow, that's a really cool new feature on some streaming service," and no press release,
Yes.
or they drop like 30 things at once, and
Yes.
and something gets lost in the middle. The ability for Disney to say, we have a strategy. I wouldn't be surprised if you go in their PR and there's like a timeline on the wall, like, November 2nd we're announcing this, and November da 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 da, and it's just like every week they have something they want to dribble out. That may be a little annoying because you're wondering, that keeps them in front of it, versus the other end where you have a lot of services who don't really see anything, don't say anything. Oh, wow, that's a brand new channel. That's a cool new feature. That's a new show. No PR. Or, hey, we just announced 30 new features to our service, and now we're trying to like make sense of this massive drop of information. So
Right.
good job, Disney. Everybody
Agreed.
else, take notes. You know who else was good at this? Real quick, and we'll move on because I know this is inside baseball. Sling TV, when they first launched, was really good at this too. Back when 3 years ago, when they were just announcing it, it was, I think, for this winter will be 4 years, and it was like, okay, here's a little bit, and almost every week, Sling TV would have some type of big announcement, and so it kind of feels a lot like that.
Yeah, definitely. I think they're both great. And I think that what I appreciate about them is that we hear about it and then it gives us the opportunity to tell readers about it. So we're getting those press releases and we're getting those news stories.
Definitely. All right, let's keep moving on, Jess. Let's do the next story.
Yeah, so you mentioned whenever you were talking about Disney that they are kind of working to make sure that people aren't sharing passwords. And that's what our next story is about. Streaming services are cracking down on password sharing. So this was brought up during an announcement with Disney and Charter. The two are working together to cut down on piracy on streaming services. So this could mean things like detecting your location to make sure that you're not, in Michigan and also in Texas. So, like, Luke, you couldn't be sharing this with your parents.
Shoot.
And it could also mean limiting simultaneous streams. So, this is nothing new. Every paid service has some kind of policy in place to help prevent password sharing. The thing is that most of them aren't really enforcing that in any way. On some services, like on HBO, if you have too many streams going all at once, you'll get a notification saying you can't play this right now. You have too many going at once. But for the most part, these streaming services are not doing anything to enforce their policies. So this is nothing new, this cracking down on password sharing, but it does sound like Disney is taking it more seriously than others, which isn't really surprising. They're very protective over their stuff. And so just a warning to anyone that's planning on using Disney, if you are planning on sharing your password, you might run into some trouble.
Yeah. And historically, like, Hulu had a one stream limit for a long time.
Right.
Rarely enforced it. What they had historically gone after is people who aggressively abused the system. The people who had grandma, grandpa, brothers, sisters, everybody on it. Sharing your password, I mean, HBO said this before they were owned by AT&T, but HBO in the past, they said, hey, if you're a parent, your kid's just moving out of the house, going to college, we don't really care if you're sharing for them because we want them after they're done with college to go subscribe.
Sure.
I don't think it's the like, oh, the kid who still lives with me most of the year uses my account. It's the person who's like, hey, I'm on Reddit, and if you want to use my account, pay me $10 a year and you can get Dish access or something.
Right.
That is where we run into a massive amount of issues. And I think that's what Disney's going to do here. I don't think Disney cares about, that college kid that's using it. I think they care about, hey, my three sisters and brothers or whatever, we're all going to have one account and we're all going to share it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they don't want. They're like, you're all adults, go get your own account. But it'll be interesting to see what happens here, how this implements. Some people have talked about this being a major issue. Some companies are more aggressive. Other companies have kind of been like, it's not really an issue for us.
Mm-hmm.
I think that may change now that there's more services, there's more competition, because we're seeing increasingly that Disney, that people don't want more than 3 or 4 services. Now with Disney Plus and more launching, the battle to be one of those 3 or 4 services is going to be heating up. And they don't want, they don't want it like, oh, I got my 3, you got your 3, let's share, so that everybody has one.
Yeah, and it's a fine line because one of the features that people really love in streaming services is setting up individual profiles. So if I have mine, my brother has his, my mom has hers, that's cool. We each get to set our own preferences. The problem is that almost makes it easier to share your password because your account isn't really affected other than someone else having their little profile on your home screen.
Yeah, so we're going to keep a close eye on this, but just be warned. YouTube TV is another good example. They have those family share accounts.
Yeah.
And they're not very aggressive in it, but there are times where they're just like, hey, this particular Roku has been streaming YouTube TV out of the home for like 6 months.
Right.
Now we're cracking down on that. So I think that's just going to become more and more common. All right, let's keep moving along. Unless there's anything you want to add, Jess.
Nope, I'm good.
All right, Spectrum's new $14.99 Philo-like streaming service, and it's like it, not exactly like it, we'll get into that in a minute, is now live in, according to our sources, all Spectrum markets. Core Cars News has been able to confirm that this new Spectrum Essential service that gives you 60 channels, including AMC and Hallmark and Comedy Central and BBC America and so many others, for $14.99 a month, is available even in old Time Warner cable markets now. And this is required for you to have Spectrum Home Internet. It's kind of hard to find because they don't have a website for it, and they don't have, they target you, they send you a mailing, or they give you a phone call to offer you this service. You can recall and request it, but some people have had mixed reactions doing that. We'll get into what Spectrum's really trying to do here in a minute. But this was announced back in February, went live in March in like 2 markets, in like New York, I think North Carolina was the other market. And now it's pretty much available in all markets. So a couple of limitations. I believe it's only available if you have a Spectrum customer. I think there's some limitations about out-of-home streaming. It's hard to get information from Spectrum because there's no website to just go and look. But if you have a Spectrum Internet, I've heard people really like this service, that they've been very pleased with the quality of it. It's a lot like Spectrum Choice. It uses the same app and more. But instead of getting your locals plus a bunch of 10 other channels you pick from, this is them just saying, here's the channels. Now, no sports channels, no locals, and really no news channels. They have like Cheddar on there and some others, but you're not going to find like Fox News on this. So I'll be very interesting to see how successful it is. If anybody watching or listening to this podcast has used it, leave us a review. But, Jess, am I the one that finds it a little weird that there's no website? It's very hard to find this, very hard to get it. Spectrum Choice is out there, but there's not other ways to do it. Like, there's no website for it, unfortunately.
Yeah, I was just writing a post about this and comparing it to some other services yesterday, and it was so difficult to find information. We found that press release that they put out, but that was really kind of it. Everyone was just putting out the same information about this press release. So it's very strange. I'm wondering if they're trying to promote it at all. I'm a Spectrum customer, and I haven't heard anything about it. I've gotten nothing in the mail, no phone calls, no emails. So I'm wondering if they're pushing it at all or what the game plan is here.
This kind of feels like a last-ditch effort. Like, okay, we're going to first push cable at you. We're going to then push the Spectrum Stream TV, which is a $24 package, small cable bundle. Spectrum Choice streaming, which is you get your locals plus some music channels no one cares about, and then 10 channels you pick from. And now there's Spectrum Essentials, which is like, okay, so if none of this worked, if we weren't able to make anything here, now we'll go over here on Spectrum Essentials. And when I talked to a Spectrum agent on the phone trying to push about it, and they were even kind of hesitant to talk about it, to be honest with you, and didn't really want to give us a lot of information.
Yeah, really strange. Do you think there's any chance that Spectrum would want to be developing a bigger, better streaming service and they're kind of trying to test it out with this?
It could be. It's just strange because you got 3 different streaming services here. I don't know how else you will talk about this. You have Spectrums with live TV, Spectrum choice where you pick it. Spectrum Stream, which is another $24 package, which comes with a handful of channels plus your locals. But you can't pick your locals on that, or pick your channels on that one. And then you have this. So it's kind of this weird multi-prong approach that they're doing, that it will be very interesting to see what they do with it.
It sounds a little like the messy AT&T situation where they have a bunch of stuff and they're trying to figure out what to do with it.
Yeah, we have no idea what we're doing. It's basically what AT&T is saying.
Right.
And we're just going to go from there.
Yep. Yeah, we'll talk about that more in a minute because I have some thoughts about AT&T.
Yeah. There's really not a lot to say past this other than to say, hey, if you have Spectrum Essentials and you have a review you want to tell us about, let us know. I'll love to hear from you. Anything you want to add?
No, that's it. I'm interested in this, but only because I'm wondering what they're doing. So we'll see.
All right. Well, speaking of what are they doing, what better way to get into it than AT&T TV versus AT&T TV Now? Real quick before Jess breaks it down, I know this was last week. I know a lot of people are like, we talked about this a lot. AT&T's just made a lot of news. We haven't been able to talk about it now. So let's jump in here and kind of see. Jess, tell us what this is.
Yeah, this is the problem with not having internet for a week. You miss out on the opportunity to talk about AT&T more. So the news is that AT&T TV is live. AT&T TV Now also live. So this all happened last Monday. That's whenever the news broke and all of the stuff started happening. So DirecTV Now has officially changed over. I'm going to keep looking at my notes because I get very confused about the different names. DirecTV Now has officially rebranded and switched over to AT&T TV Now. So if you were a DirecTV Now customer, you will now notice that the name is different. It looks a little different, the logo and everything. Also, the app that you're using is now called AT&T TV. Is that correct? That the app has changed officially?
On most devices.
Okay. AT&T TV is also now live, and it's only live in 10 test cities for now, but it will be rolling out nationwide by the end of the year. So AT&T TV is a cable-like service. It requires equipment. It comes with a device that's included with your cost, but it does cost an additional $10 a month if you want additional devices to stream on other TVs. So $10 a month or $120 for life per additional streaming device. So here's the thing. There is a difference between the two. As I said, AT&T TV is the cable-like service. This is the streaming version of DirecTV, currently available in 10 test cities, coming everywhere at the end of the year. Now, AT&T TV Now is DirecTV Now. It's only changing the name. Everything else is basically the same. You're getting the same channels. You're paying the same price. Not really a huge difference. So that's where we're at right now. You can go to cordcuttersnews.com for the full breakdown of all of this. I included a ton of links in that blog post. So if you're confused about any of the details, just click on those links to learn a little bit more. I included the full breakdown of all of AT&T's TV services, the difference between all of those. So here's the thing. If you're confused about this, you are not alone. All of us are confused. AT&T, the company, is confused. So they've been putting out all kinds of stuff. Luke, you mentioned that you had seen pop-up ads or banner ads about this. So I went into the App Store and looked up the app for AT&T TV. And even on the App Store, they are confusing the names. They're saying DirecTV Now has a new name. Say hello to AT&T TV. That's incorrect. They left out a word on that. And I thought, oh, maybe it's only in this one part. No, because if you scroll down, you will also see a giant image that says, say hello to AT&T TV. DirecTV Now is getting a new name. So they're not making it easy on anybody to know the difference or to keep track of all of these changes. So if you're confused, yeah, so is everybody else.
You know, it's not just on the Apple App Store. I just pulled up my Google Play Store, looked it up on Google Play Store here because I noticed there was an update overnight for it also. And it says it right here, say DirecTV Now has a new name, say hello to AT&T TV. And then under the About This App section, it says right here, we've rebranded DirecTV Now to AT&T TV. But they do farther down say AT&T TV is your streaming service of choice or AT&T is your streaming service of choice of AT&T TV or AT&T TV Now. That's a really weird sentence. Okay, let me reread
So it
this.
seems like they're trying to say DirecTV Now is now available in the app AT&T TV, but they don't specify that.
Yeah, this is how the first sentence of the description on Google Play says. AT&T TV is your streaming service of choice of AT&T TV or AT&T TV Now. So I'm just glad I get it when we're mass producing content in a rapid form, when there's breaking news happening that sometimes you misspell things or you put a letter out of order or you just make a sentence that doesn't sound good. But this is like, okay, PR wrote this. PR in a room of probably multiple people. And could they not be any more confusing? And it says again later on, AT&T TV is your stream service of choice of our AT&T. Okay, this one has our in it, our AT&T TV or AT&T TV Now experience. That makes a lot more sense. Probably need to do another disclaimer because I've been getting a lot of emails about this from people who are like, hey, but the app says DirecTV Now is AT&T TV Now. I'm like, yeah, it does, because AT&T clearly doesn't even know what they're doing.
Yeah, I think, like you said, it's easy to make mistakes sometimes. And I think with us, it's only the two of us writing and Becca checking over things too. But it's very easy to make mistakes whenever you're pushing out so much news constantly. But with AT&T, it seems like the opposite problem where they have so many people and maybe they're not all on the same page about messaging. So I'm wondering if it was just something like that where somebody just wrote the wrong thing and they all kind of went with it. But they're definitely not making it easy on customers.
Example of that. So we did a post earlier this week about DirecTV's fees and how there's 11 different fees you could possibly run into if you're a DirecTV customer. Had somebody who says, oh, I'm an AT&T phone rep center employee, your post is wrong. Some of these fees we don't charge. And so I messaged that person back. I was like, well, here's a link to AT&T's website that says the fees. What did we get wrong here?
Right.
And then we never heard back. So I think it's just their kind of left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing situation a lot here.
Yes.
But AT&T announced this rebranding, like a month before it really happened almost. And then to publish and clearly say DirecTV has a new name, AT&T TV. That's not right. And that is extremely confusing to people. So hopefully AT&T kind of cleans this up, makes it a little more clear. Another example, for a long time after the rebranding, if you went to AT&T's website and you clicked on DirecTV Now, it didn't send you to AT&T TV Now, it sent you to the AT&T website.
Yes.
And that confused a lot of people too. So yeah.
Yeah, we're not trying to drag AT&T. We're just saying that we would love for them to make things more clear. We would love for customers to be getting the right messaging. We would love to be relaying the right messaging. So yeah, AT&T, if you're paying attention, which is also why I grabbed the screenshots. I just wanted to show, like, we're not making this up and we're not trying to disparage AT&T at all. I'm saying here's what I'm seeing on my phone right now. Here are the screenshots. So.
Yeah, and I went and took a screenshot of it on Google Play too. So it's kind of interesting. And you're right. I hope AT&T is successful. I hope they create stuff people want. But man, are we hearing from a lot of people that's confusing. A few things. So let's break down the differences now that we've complained about the name. AT&T TV, real quick, is almost exactly the DirecTV packages, and is actually not that much different than the old DirecTV Now packages. But it cost $59.99, right, Jess?
Yes.
Funny story, to make DirecTV and the DirecTV Now prices the same, the promo price for DirecTV, the introductory price before fees and taxes, was raised by $10 to match the AT&T TV Now pricing. Right. So that was interesting. And past that, though, nothing has changed for AT&T TV Now customers. No matter what that email or that pop-up message may have told you from AT&T, your grandfather plan is still staying put. And your packages are the same, all that. Nothing else has changed other than the logo on the app, because the app itself is exactly the same as it was before the rebranding. So I think that's the most important things. And I do want to touch base on this too, is AT&T did send out a lot of emails around the rebranding time about how people's grandfather promotional rates are coming to an end. That is not happening. AT&T has said at this time we have no plans in promotional rates for DirecTV customers. Basically, ignore what our email, what our message, and our app said. So keep that in mind.
Once again, just a lot of miscommunication, I think, going on around AT&T. It would be great if they could get on the same page, but I feel like they have a lot going on right now. So hopefully they can come together and figure this out soon.
All right. Anything you want to add to this?
I don't think so. I think that's it for me. If you're confused, like I said, go over to the blog and read the posts. I've been trying to break down the differences in some different posts.
Yeah. Just in short, I guess I would say AT&T TV is cable. DirecTV now AT&T TV Now is more of a cord cutting option. All right, let's get into something that's a dramatic change for the way the U.S. is handling piracy. The owners of iStreamItAll and Jetflix have been indicted by a federal grand jury for running a pirate streaming service. So federal charges have been pressed. Now, this does not mean they're guilty of it. It just means that the grand jury says there is enough evidence to bring charges. So always keep that in mind. But that we're moving from against these I think 6 or 8 people who mostly lived in the greater Las Vegas area, from our understanding of reading the indictment announcement. But these two services offered hundreds of thousands of movies and TV shows, boasted of more content than Netflix. And I think in one, was iStreamItAll that said they had more subscribers? Yeah, more customers than Netflix, Hulu, Vudu, and Amazon Prime, according to the DOJ claim. So this is a major change because in the past, piracy, we see a lawsuit from Dish or Ace or some media company sues them. Where other countries have been throwing people running piracy services in jail. And now we have this here, that they're actually prosecuting and could face some serious jail time. A few interesting things here. Last, 2017 or so, there was a raid apparently in Jetflix's owners where they seized a bunch of hardware and stuff. Mm-hmm. And that's about the time that Jetflix shut down. I think there was something about at the same time, one of the creators of Jetflix had moved to create iStreamItAll a while back, and he's also included in all this. That's how the two are linked. So it'd be very interesting to see what happens. Now, according to the reports I saw, iStreamItAll and Jetflix are both subject to seizure but have not been seized. Jetflix has been shut down, but iStreamItAll is still running even after the grand jury indictment. And at the time we last heard, no one has been arrested at this moment, which isn't always unusual. If they don't think you're a flight risk, they can charge you. You can get a lawyer. You can kind of appear whenever they call you. As long as you're appearing in court in your hearings, well, everything will be interesting to see what happens. So I don't know. I thought this was very interesting. I think this is a big turning point. Again, if this case is successful, it's kind of one of those precedent-setting cases. And then look for them to go from there. I don't know. What do you think, Jess?
Something that stood out to me with all of this is that they were charged with, hang on, I'm pulling up the article now, things like copyright infringement and then distributing copyrighted work. So that was all pretty normal. But then also on there was money laundering.
Yeah, and that's often how they get this, right? What's the old saying? I don't know how true this is, but it's the old saying that Al Capone wasn't taken down for anything but failure to pay the IRS.
Right.
They get their money, right? If you're making millions and you're not paying your taxes, they'll find you.
True story. Yeah, and I think this is kind of great because we see in the Facebook group all the time how many posts every day do we have to delete because they're talking about piracy services. They can make these look very legit. They can get your credit card information. Who knows what they'll do with it? These aren't really companies that are on the up and up, so it's hard to say what they're going to do with your information once they have it. So that's very scary, which is the reason that I'm really happy to see them going after these guys.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Some people are pointing out in the chat that, they also went after Vader TV. That was in Canada. That lawsuit or that criminal case was in Canada. And Canada has been throwing people in jail. The UK has been very aggressive at throwing people in jail. Remember, BBC is owned in majority by the British government. So stealing from the BBC. They don't like that. In the US, we've mostly just sued people. And there's been this, oh, it's not really illegal as long as it's just streaming, right? No, that's not the case. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens. And will this scare other people away? You know, facing a lawsuit, okay, yeah, Dish and Ace want to completely financially destroy you is one thing. Facing 10 plus years in jail, will that change people's opinion of this? Will this scare away people from running services like this?
I hope so, because I'm tired of deleting the comments in the Facebook group every time someone talks about piracy, which I did want to mention something. I explained this a couple of times in the Facebook group just this week. If we delete your posts about piracy in the cord cutting tech support group, it's not because you asked a question and you were looking for an actual answer about whether a streaming service is legit or if it's illegal. We do it because whenever you mention the name of these services, it can come off as promoting them. So people in the comments will be talking about how they want to try it out, and then it looks like we're promoting these pirated services, which we want nothing to do with. We keep it legal. So if your post gets deleted, that's why.
And there has been a push recently by Facebook and other places to shut down groups, not very effectively, because I see a lot of piracy ads and I see piracy groups still. But we don't want our group shut down because it seems like we're promoting piracy, because that would be awful for all the people who are there.
Yeah, so we get that your questions are harmless, but we also have to do that to moderate the group.
Yep. So we'll keep a close eye on this. There's many lawsuits right now targeting the sellers. The interesting thing here too, I don't know what their model will be, but there's also been a move in the industry to just go after the people instead of just going after people who are running it, to actually go after the people who are selling it. So a lot of these services work on a method of, hey, sign up to be an affiliate, you go sell this to your friends, we'll pay you for each customer. You know, get $5 to sign up or $10 to sign up or wherever they're doing. And Dish has successfully gone after some of these people and won multi-million-dollar damages for being a reseller of some, I think Set TV's one was the first one to get, I forget how much money they won in that case. But yeah, so if you're a reseller, like, well, I don't really own it, I'm just kind of running it. Be careful, because they may come after you too.
Absolutely. Yep, be careful.
All right. Next story up. Why don't we hit the last story of the day, Jess?
Yeah, let's talk about my favorite Spectrum. So I have Spectrum Internet, and my internet was out last week, but I'm not holding any grudges, no hard feelings. We'll just talk about the story. So we have learned from a source that in October, Spectrum will be raising the prices of most of their plans. So previously, broadcast TV fees for Spectrum were $11.99. Now they're going to be $13.50, which means that in total you'll be paying $162 a year just for over-the-air TV that you could get for free with an antenna. There will also reportedly be price hikes for each TV plan, including Spectrum Select, Silver, and Gold. Each of those will increase by $7.50. Spectrum Standard Internet will also go up from $69.99 to $69.99 from $65.99 without Wi-Fi, to $75.99 from $70.99 with Wi-Fi. So those of us with Spectrum will reportedly be notified of changes mid-September. Just a note, if you use paperless billing, you can go into your statement and they'll have a little section of news. That's where you would get your notification that your price is going to go up. So pay attention, Spectrum customers. Just know that a price hike is probably coming. You will be notified soon.
Yeah, and one other fee change here. Digital adapters, those new adapters are required for each TV. Yeah, going up about 49 cents each. So the good news here, if you're a cord cutter, you're going to be saving more money this year than you did last year, because yeah, internet's going up $5, but the cost of TV is going up over $10 once, or about it's going up about $8 once you count in the cost of the digital adapters. At least $8, because I'm assuming you have at least one adapter. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. They have to give you a 30-day notice, so sometime in October this will happen, and then your next bill after that price hike will get it. So look for mid-September, check your bill, then it will notify you that, hey, on your next bill there will be a price hike. So keep that in mind. But I think that's it. Anything you want to add here?
No, I'm a little disappointed that my internet price is probably going to be going up soon. It's okay.
Uh,
I got a refund for that week that I had no internet, so we're all
hey,
good.
win-win, hopefully. Good
Yeah,
news.
just a note too. If you have internet and your internet goes out for any period of time, give them a quick phone call and they will probably refund your money for the time that you didn't have the internet. So never be afraid to call a company and just ask some questions. Just be nice and people will be helpful.
Perfect. Yeah, and again, I wonder how much coverage we're going to get of this. When PlayStation View, Hulu, etc. raises their price, we hear all about it. It's like end of the world, might as well go get
Yes,
cable. Cable TV raises the price. I wonder how much news we're going to get of that.
agreed. We will report on it.
There you go. All right, Jess, do you have some questions for me today?
Sure, we can get into the questions. I have a few that I've been grabbing mostly from the Facebook group. So if you post in the Facebook group and we don't respond sometimes, I will just grab that and use it for a podcast question. So the first one is um, Disney is offering this reduced price for D23 members. Do you think it makes sense to sign up for 3 years of Disney Plus without trying it out first?
Honestly, I think most people know what Disney offers. You kind of know the content Disney has. We have a good idea what content's going to be there in the back catalog. So if you love Disney, you're a Disney fan and you want it, yeah, go ahead and get it. If you're kind of like, I may get Disney Plus for a few months and just binge watch some stuff and then drop it and rotate it, maybe it's not the right deal for you. It's kind of one of those, this isn't like some new service. This isn't like Netflix launching back in the day where you're like, what? I mean, who's Netflix? What are they offering? We know what Disney Plus is. We know what Disney offers, and I think yeah, if you're sold already and you like the deal, go ahead and do it.
Yeah, definitely. Especially since they've been releasing lists of their original content. They've been showing trailers and stuff. I think they've been doing a great job of showing what they have to offer. All right,
Perfect.
so next question. Um, After I bought a Roku, I was told to call a number and pay $100 for an activation fee. Later found out this was not legitimate. Am I out my $100? What is going on with this?
You can try to contact your credit card company and more and put a stop payment on it. We've heard some credit card companies aren't honoring it because then the company comes back and say, well, we offered a service. Now, it's perfectly legitimate to offer a service out there. I mean, we see computer stores at every street corner, right? I can bring my computer to this store. They'll fix my computer. They'll set it up. They'll do all kinds of stuff for a fee. The scam part to me comes in is when they try to convince you this is the only way to do it, right? That the only way to activate your Roku is to pay a monthly subscription fee, or a yearly fee, or an uptime, or an upfront $100 plus fee, all kinds of stuff. That's when I call it a scam because they're misleading you into thinking that is what's happening. So, are there legitimate services that will come and help you set up your Roku? Yes, there's 100% legitimate services. Are there services who will mislead you in thinking this is the only way to do it? Yes, there are. So be very careful out there.
Yeah, we've seen more people in the Facebook group lately, I've noticed, that have been saying, I bought my Roku, and then I got this email saying, you bought a Roku, here's the number to call, give us your credit card information. Nothing happened. They gave their credit card information. Their Roku still wasn't set up. They were confused. They're out $100. So this is a scam. Don't do it. Roku on its own does not have an activation fee. You can do it on your own.
And who knows what they're going to do with your credit card. If this has
Yes,
happened to you, maybe seriously consider shutting down your credit card and get a new one.
absolutely.
Be careful. I mean, as with all piracy services, you hand that over to them, you don't know what they're going to do with your credit card.
Yeah,
With these kind of things, just be very careful who you give your credit card information to.
absolutely. Stay safe.
All right. Any other um, things there or questions?
Yeah, I have one more question for you. Somebody asked this actually in the Q&A last night and we didn't get to it. What is the best option for watching college football without cable?
Yeah, we have a great guide actually over at Core Cars News, but there's no one answer for that question, sadly. For instance, if you're a Pac-12 fan, we have Sling TV and Fubo TV offering the Pac-12 network, but Sling TV doesn't also offer the Big Ten network. If you want the Big Ten network, PlayStation View, YouTube TV are great options, but they don't offer the Pac-12 network. So there's a little bit of a trade-off back and forth here, depending on which which channels you want, what games you want to watch. ACC Network, it's just starting to roll out. It's on Hulu, PlayStation View, and YouTube TV. So again, Sling TV doesn't have the ACC Network. So don't be afraid to look around. We have a complete guide I'll put in the show notes down below. Share it in the chat real quick too, because it was going to be what I'm watching this week. But we have a full guide to help you find out which services are offering the channels you want and where to watch your favorite game.
Well, should we get into our recommendations then? Because I could have guessed that yours was going to be something football related.
There you go. Yeah, you want to go first, Jess?
Sure. Mine is actually, I've been watching Comic-Con coverage on IMDb TV. So Comic-Con was last month, and during that, Kevin Smith was there, and he was interviewing different actors, directors, all kinds of people involved in TV shows and movies. And IMDb posted a lot of that coverage. So IMDb TV is a free ad-supported service and something that I hadn't really dove into a whole lot yet. So it was really cool to just watch some of that coverage. It was really interesting.
Yeah, I love Comic-Con, and it's great to see so many people. The ability, right? 10 years ago, if you didn't go to Comic-Con, you didn't get to see it.
Yeah.
Now you can.
It's free.
Speaking of things you couldn't watch a few years ago if you didn't pay for cable, football. Week 0 was an amazing weekend of football. Now, starting tonight, get the popcorn going. Maybe order some Buffalo Wild Wings. We'll see what happens here. Get some ribs or something. But it's football, folks. So I have a guide I'll include in the show notes of how to watch all the football games out there without having to pay a 2-year contract. So check that out. I'd love to know, if you're a football fan, leave us a comment. What's your team? Who do you root for? Let me know. All right, so that's it for today. Thanks for bearing with us. Thanks to everybody who joined us live. Don't forget, we record this live on YouTube every Thursday, barring internet issues, at noon Eastern. So join us every Thursday, noon Eastern. We'll also post the audio version live, and we'll have it posted over on YouTube also if you want to watch us talk about on video. So hope everyone has a fantastic day. Take care. Thank you so much for your support. We really appreciate it.